Hello, everyone. Today is the second session for our class for exam preparation. I was expecting someone to join us, but it seems like they didn't attend, even though they show that it's active. But I'm gonna explain what was the purpose of this class, even though there is no one attending. First of all, today for exam preparation, I prepared this class focusing on listening, the skill listening for a level in the English B2. Who is presenting today? Lady Gennari Arango Calero. I prepared as a warm-up first start activity. This B2 listening practice is a video where he's talking about the experience of living abroad. I'm gonna play the video and then show the questions.
Hey everybody, welcome to this B2.
So after we watched this video about he experiment telling us how it is for him to live abroad and some advices and experience and feelings. an older person can experience living abroad. So I prepare.
Hey everybody,
Sorry.
welcome to this B.
I prepare these questions. There are 5 simple questions that the instructions or the idea for this activity for start with something simple and easy was to answer the following questions based on the listening passage about living abroad. So the first question I prepared for this class today was, according to the speaker, what kind of fear do you experience when first arriving in new country to live? The second is the speaker's strong recommendation. What is the speaker's strong recommendation about language learning before moving abroad? What does the speaker compare hearing a foreign language without prior knowledge? What is mentioned as the biggest negative about living abroad? What 2 specific examples does the speaker give about things he can do in this new country? So the idea was, according to what we just watched, answer them, and if there was a need of watching again the video, there is no problem, we also can do that, but unfortunately it's not valid attending this class. So according to the speaker, what kind of fear? The answer is an exciting fear, a positive fear, like having butterflies in his stomach, like he just mentioned. And the second is study the language as much as possible before you go, because you won't just pick it up on arrival. Static noise in the background for the third questions.
Hello.
Hello, Carolina.
I'm so sorry. I was finishing editing some videos for YouTube and I was just finishing.
It's okay, don't worry. I was just recording the video explaining the class, since when I called nobody attend. But since you joined me, I'm gonna move to the next activity, if it is okay with you.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So the idea in this activity is to explain, to train our comprehension when it comes to listening. So there is a video about 6 minutes each of talking about the benefits of doing nothing. The idea is to listen up really careful, trying to pick it up as much as we can, and according to the next questions, trying to answer them. If there is a need to play again the video, there is no problem. We can just do that if it is needed. So I'm just gonna play the video, really attentive, pay attention to what is mentioned, and let's see how it goes. So I'm gonna play the video and I'm gonna turn off my mic so I don't interrupt the listening for you.
Okay, thank you. By the way,
Well,
teacher, how are you?
Good, thank you. Wait, give me a second. Do you hear the video, the audio?
I can't hear anything actually.
Okay, let me just check it out. Espérate. Now I'm gonna play it again. Sorry, I wasn't even sharing my screen.
It's okay.
Sorry for that. So let's start again.
6-Minute English.
From bbclearningenglish.com.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Beth.
And I'm Neil. Phew, I've spent a day in meetings, then shopping, then collecting the kids from school. I'm exhausted, Beth. What have you been doing today?
Oh, not much, just sitting around, doing nothing, relaxing and kicking back.
Lucky you. Don't you have any work to do?
It may not look it, Neil, but I'm actually as busy as a bee. If you've seen nature documentaries about worker bees flying from flower to flower, you probably think animals are always on the move. But the surprising truth is, away from the cameras, most animals spend most of their time doing absolutely nothing at all.
In the natural world, where finding food and shelter is hard work, why have some animals evolved to do nothing? And if it's good enough for animals, would being lazy work for humans too? That's what we'll be discussing in this program, and as usual, we'll be learning some useful new vocabulary as well.
But first, let me work up the energy to ask you a question, Neil. Of course, some animals have a reputation for lounging about. Lions, for example, can sleep up to 20 hours a day. But what is the slowest moving animal on Earth? Is it A, the giant tortoise, B, the three-toed sloth, or C, the koala?
Well, I think it's the three-toed sloth.
OK, Neil, I'll reveal the correct answer at the end of the programme. Now, it's no surprise that lazy lions love relaxing, but even animals with reputations for being busy spend time doing nothing. Look carefully into an ant's nest and you'll see around half of them just sitting there motionless. Here's Professor Dan Charbonneau, an expert in insect behaviour, discussing the lazy rock ant with Emily Knight, presenter of BBC Radio 4 programme Nature Bang.
Dan's research has focused on ant colonies, a species called Temnothorax regatulus, or the rock ant.
I think ants are sort of a symbol of like industriousness. They have this whole tiny little society going on that's kind of similar to ours. Some idealized version of what humans might be. If we could only pull it together and all work together, we could be as industrious as the ants. But then when you look at it, roughly about half the colony is inactive at any given time.
We think ants are industrious or hard-working. Groups of ants called colonies seem tiny, perfect societies where everyone works hard for the good of the group.
Then why are so many of them inactive? One possible answer is that they're reserve ants, ready to step in if disease or disaster strike. But could it simply be that they don't work because they don't need to? Would you get out of bed on Monday morning if you didn't have to?
Maybe the ants can teach us a thing or two about relaxing, but wouldn't it get boring just sitting around all day?
Not according to psychologist Dr. Sandy Mann. She thinks being productive, working to produce a lot for the amount of resources we use, is overrated. Boredom has its benefits too, as she explained to BBC Radio 4 programme Nature Bang.
Would humans have invented bread or beer or fire, if we hadn't been bored and were wondering what on earth would happen if we mixed this with this? Are all these sorts of inventions the mother of boredom?
But in this world of constant stimulation, switching off is harder than it's ever been.
That's why we're constantly swiping and scrolling and looking for the next big thing and the new thing, and we get bored of things very quickly. So it's a kind of paradox. To get rid of this unpleasant state of boredom is actually to allow more boredom into your life.
Dr. Mann doubts humans would have invented things without the curiosity that comes from being bored. Boredom is the mother of invention, an idea based on the famous proverb, necessity is the mother of invention, an idiom meaning that if you really need to do something, you will think of a way of doing it.
Instead of fearing boredom, we can open up to its benefits by switching off, stopping worrying or thinking about something and relaxing. Slowing down helps too. something we can definitely learn from our animal cousins.
I think now is a good time to reveal the answer to my question, since we have nothing else to do.
You asked me to name the world's slowest animal, and I guessed it was the three-toed sloth. Was I right?
That was the correct answer. With a top speed of 30 centimeters per minute, three-toed sloths move so slowly that algae grows on their coats. Okay, let's recap the vocabulary we've learned from this program, starting with the phrase kicking back, to stop doing things and relax completely.
The adjective industrious means hard-working.
A colony is the name given to a group of certain animals, including ants and some seabirds.
Someone who is productive is able to produce a lot for the amount of resources they use.
The proverb, necessity is the mother of invention, means that if you really need to do something, you will think of a way of doing it.
And finally, to switch off means to stop worrying or thinking about something and relax. Once again, our 6 minutes are up. It must be time to sit down, close your eyes, and just do nothing. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
6 Minute English.
From the BBC.
Okay, it was clear for you. Did you understand what was the idea of the video?
Most of it. It was quite cool, actually. I want to do as they do, just sitting around and do nothing.
Yeah, and we know that the parting for being bored or not having that much to do is when it comes many ideas to our brain. So, according to what we just
6
watched,
Minute English.
there is a few questions, just 5 questions, and we want to try to answer them according with what we just watched. And the idea is to, see if we pick it up some parts of everything, or if there is needed to watch it again, there is not problem. So I would like to some of you that are in this meeting, could be Carolina or Rosalba. If there is, you are able to read them, the questions.
According to the video, what surprising fact is true about most animals when they are away from cameras, and I think is that they are actually doing nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, and did you catch what animals were mentioned them as there in the video as an example?
For example, lions, and the next one, the ants, because the ants are just like they don't do anything because they don't actually need to do anything. So they just wait until it's the right time to do something like a disaster or something like that. So that is like also the answer for the next one. What percentage of ants in a colony does Professor Dan Charbon, I don't remember how to pronounce that surname,
It's
describe
okay.
as inactive?
Did you remember what
Yes,
percentage they mentioned?
It was like the half of them. I don't. I just forgot it. Like
Yeah, you're right.
only the half.
The third one,
Okay.
yeah.
So what does Dr. Sandy Mann suggest about boredom and human inventions? Well, they were talking that what humans are doing nothing is the time when they come with more creative ideas to create something.
Yeah. Did you understand? The fourth question,
Okay, so I will answer to it as well since
yeah.
nobody's name. So necessity is the mother of invention.
Mhm. Yeah, adapted from necessity, but he mentioned that boredom is the mother of invention,
Uh-huh.
and it
But
might be
boredom,
accurate.
yeah. I just remembered the second one.
Yes.
And I don't remember well the last one.
You don't remember?
No.
It is
Okay.
30 centimeters per minute. Since I thought that nobody will join, I jump over to this activity. But the first activity I want to share with you, I was explaining the activity, but I wasn't even showing the screen. So I'm gonna move a little back to the first activity. That it was this guy telling us the experience of living abroad. So the idea is the same. We want to listen to what he's talking, what is there, his stuff, and everything. And after we finish the video, we'll proceed with again just 5 questions, simple questions from the video. Is to practice our comprehension as well the retention in our minds, so train our memory a little bit. So I'm gonna play the video, and then we're gonna see the questions. If you need to watch, see?
Yeah, I was going to ask you something. For
Yeah.
example, it would be nice if you could share any ideas or tips for example, when I listen to something, to audios and things like that, I understand almost everything, but at the end I forget like or one or two things, and I'm unable to recall it. So, do you have any tips like to memorize almost everything? I mean, my memorization is perfect. Like I recall just like a 90% of what I hear, but then I forget the rest. I don't know why, but do you have any tips for that?
Yes, I do have some tips that have helped me because I used to have the same problem as the beginner. And the one that helped me the most was the repetition. For the reason, for example, okay, I'm gonna play this video and I want to understand and keep everything in my mind. Maybe
But yeah, but what do you do when you only have one chance to listen to it?
Pick clever words. When I just have one option of playing video or audio, I take a look of key points, like depending of the topic, key words, because I know that the more clever parts probably will be mentioned if there is questions or if there is a quiz, they will be probably on the questions. So always speaking the more like relevant facts.
Okay.
If
Doesn't
I
it
have the
happen
opportunity to write them down, I'll do that. But sometimes, for example, when it comes to internationals, a test to prove in what level we are, there in those tests, you usually does not have the possibility to have any pen or papers to write it down. So it's just memorizing key parts of the audio or video if there is just one time play. And if there is another opportunity, I'll play it again and trying to connect dots. Assuming is one part, but that is not often working because sometimes we can have one perspective or perception of the things, but the idea and the text or the idea that the people are trying to communicate is another different. So that one does not work all the time, depending on the context. But for me, the key facts, the relevant information, for me works like that.
it does work for me like that as well. But for example, when I just have one chance, I tend to don't pay attention to things I think are not that relevant. So funny enough,
So
they appear in the questions, the ones I don't.
yes, that happen also because sometimes we think, okay, the most relevant stuff is the one that are gonna be mentioned on the questions or text or whatever. But it turns out it was not the relevant. Sometimes it's just irrelevant information or stuff that was just mentioned there. But in my eyes, in my ear, I didn't consider it that important. So I omit that information. And that could be a problem because it might be on the questions. But I think that it comes with it. The most you try and train your listening, the better you'll get. And that is with, okay, that could be also with a part of our way to learn our personalities. I don't know how to explain it, but if you in your main mother tongue, you are also a person that is easy to forget. Like you can see an audio, read the text, or listening to something, and it's difficult for you to try to capture. Then it will be like memorizing problem, but it can be trained in another different way. But there are people that is really easy to catch up immediately, like just with one time. It could be a video from 20 minutes and they will catch everything. That is an
Yeah.
ability that everybody wants to have, but yeah, it is like trying to train, and the more you practice, okay, maybe I'm gonna watch this video with subtitles. For me, it's more easy, of course, because then I'm listening, but I'm also reading. And when I read, I kept more information in my mind than when, for example, it's an audio just without subtitles. So I train to, okay, I'm gonna watch this video with subtitles, and I'm gonna write down what was that I stuck in my mind, and then I'm gonna watch it again without subtitles and see if the comparison is okay. Is the same information, or for me it's more easy when I have subtitles or when I don't have them. Like it's just trying to train. The more you can, it will starting to get better and better and better and more retention. Do you have any
Yeah.
other questions or something that you want to share with us?
So far, so good. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm gonna play the video and then we will talk about the questions.
Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to this B2 English listening practice video. You can use this video to train your listening and comprehension as I speak. You ready? So today, I'm going to talk to you about living abroad. I was an expat for a few years, so I can offer a pretty good amount of insight into this topic. Let's start first with the good things. Living abroad opens up a whole world of new experiences, ideas, and cultures that you never would have dreamed of if you hadn't moved abroad. The second you step off the plane and realize that you're not just on vacation, you're in your new home, it can hit you like a truck. Regardless of how much planning you've done, and regardless of how much desire you have to live in that new country, the reality of it all will strike fear in you. But this fear is actually a good fear. It's like an exciting fear. You've probably heard the expression, to have butterflies in your stomach. Well, the experience of arriving in your new country and knowing that you're going to set up your life there will definitely give you a serious case of the butterflies. It's more like giant moths. But like I said, I consider that a positive. Another good thing is that hopefully you'll get to learn a new language. Ideally, you'd already have a decent level in the country's language, and so being in that country and surrounded by native speakers would be a great way to improve. But as you can probably imagine, not everyone gets the same pleasure out of speaking a foreign language as I do or other language learners do. So this might be a negative for some people, and I personally know people that have been living in a foreign country for 4, 5, 6 years, and they can barely put a sentence together. So my advice to those moving abroad would be to study the language as much as possible before you go. Because if you arrive in your new country without knowing any of the language, you're not just going to pick it up. It doesn't work like that. All the talking you hear around you is just going to be like static noise in the background. It won't make any sense to you and it won't help you learn. You need to study and get to the level where you can actually understand the message of what people are saying, and then you can go out into the real world and pick it up. And then you can have fun speaking that language in your new country. Alright, so the biggest negative about living abroad is obviously being far away from your loved ones. This one's a no-brainer. It's not easy to live far from your family and friends. It's one thing to move across the country, but moving to a completely different country is a whole nother level of difficulty, mainly because it's harder to visit each other. I know it's not the same as being with them in person, but it does help to video chat or even just call your family. When you think about it, it's not that different than talking to them face to face, except for the fact that you can't touch them. So yeah, that's the hardest part for sure. And the other negative thing is that there are always going to be certain things about the new country or culture that you don't like. In my experience, I was able to adapt to my new country pretty well, but there were some things that I just couldn't get used to. Things like the low quality infrastructure, the lack of punctuality, and some other minor things. You should definitely try to adapt as much as possible in your new country, but there will be some things that are just too different or that are contrary to your personality. That's the reality of living abroad. Okay, so that's all for today. Leave a comment and let me know if you've ever lived abroad before or if you'd like to live abroad. I'll see you next video. Hey everybody.
So, have you any of you live abroad or you live in your home country?
Nope, never, but I'm planning to move soon.
That's nice. And to the country you're moving soon, it has a foreign language or it speak the same language as your mother tongue?
Not at all. That will be Japan. Well, it's
Oh,
actually not that soon. It's January next year because I'm going to take classes there. Actually, I just speak Japanese. Like, I'm like a B2 level, which is like N2 level in Japanese. So I'm not scared about language. And because we have AI nowadays, we can just translate it with ChatGPT or any other AI that can aid us with translation. But as he said in the video, you have this kind of fear, like excitement.
yes.
So I will start by replying that first question. According to the speaker, what kind of fear do you experience when first arriving in a new country to live? And that's excitement. Fear with excitement.
Yes, that's right. I live abroad and I don't consider myself the the better one in the language, but I am trying to learn. It has been challenging, and yes, that is kind of feeling the experience, also a little bit of anxiety and excitement at the same time.
Actually, kind of scared about moving to Japan because the culture is absolutely different in everything. And for example, you get this thing that maybe you will do something wrong and you will be considered rude in some way but Japanese people maybe will think you're not doing things right, or maybe you're being rude because you're not respecting their culture as you should. So I'm a little nervous about it, like messing things up.
Yeah, it's totally understandable, and I guess it's a feeling that everybody experiences when you move abroad. So we just have to try to manage the feelings and these sensations that we are experiencing because it's a new thing for us. Yeah, trying to live with a new culture, adapt yourself to that culture, and that includes the language. So yeah, will be exciting feeling fear, like he mentioned, butterflies in your stomach.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next question, that is number 2. Is the speaker's strong recommendation about the language learning before moving abroad? What was the recommendation that he gave us?
Okay, so since my classmates are in now, he said something about learning the language before moving to that country, because even if you go to that country, you won't learn a language. You won't just pick it up just once you're right there. You need to have like some idea about that language before you go there. So you will learn even more once you get there, because you will experience that language somehow, but not going there without knowing anything about the language.
Yes, that's true. Some people does move without knowing anything about their language. And it could be, yeah, it takes time trying to learn a new language. I think so. And more when it comes to languages that are not often taught in schools. For example, that with English, we grew up listening to even the colors, numbers, and some words more familiarized with the language than, for example, Japanese, or in my case, Norwegian. So there is something totally new, but we just have to learn.
Yeah.
The third question, could you read it, please?
That one I don't remember well, but I will read the question. What does the speaker compare hearing a foreign language without prior knowledge to?
Yeah. And he mentioned that it will be like a sticky noise in the background when you don't understand the question. The language. It will be something like that.
To me, it's just like mumbling, like there's, yeah.
Exactly. I guess it's the same for them when they listen to us speaking in Spanish. For them, it will be also like a static noise in the background. So the fourth question.
What is mentioned as the biggest negative about living abroad? I think it was something about you're not able to see your family. And yeah, that's one of the biggest negative things about it.
And what also in your personal experience, what you will think that you will miss about you living abroad, like negative
Food.
things that you can experiment?
Food. I mean, I know the food will be completely different from here, so I think I'm gonna miss that, because I saw some videos before. I watched them before, and people say that even carrots taste different.
It sure does.
So I think I'm going to miss that a lot.
From what part in Colombia you are?
I'm from Medellin.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's going to change a lot, because they say carrots, tomatoes, and everything else doesn't taste the same. They don't taste the same.
And even the things that you consider that are from your homeland taste different, because I don't know if it is because I've been here for almost 3 years, and when I have the opportunity to buy Latin American food or Colombian stuff, they don't taste the same.
Yeah, even meat. They say meat is absolutely different as well.
The chicken, the meat, it's different, yes. I have experienced it.
And I think celebrations, for example, we have the Candles Day. The way we celebrate Christmas, the way we celebrate everything.
The traditional dates are completely different. For example, here where I am is totally different. There is not a Candles Day. There is not novenas. There is not that stuff that we do.
Yeah.
And Christmas hits different. It feels different. So yeah, there is a lot of things that is gonna be new. We just need to adapt ourselves to the new culture that we're experimenting. And the fifth question, would you like to read it?
What specific examples does the speaker give about things he couldn't get used in his new country? Hmm, that's one is hard to remember though. I will say it was about the family and the fact that you can talk with them. Although you can talk to them face to face, you can touch them. You can feel that sensation of closeness with your loved ones as well. But I don't remember the other thing.
He mentioned the lack of a structure. I think that depends where you move, because it could be that was lacking infrastructure where you came from than the place you're moving to. So he mentioned that lack of infrastructure and impunctuality. And
Impunctuality.
it could be that in the new country you'll be the impunctuality one, because for me adapting to, if somebody is inviting me to hang out and they say okay, let's meet at 5, they actually means at 5, not like in Colombia that we say at 5, but you will be arriving around 6. So it's completely different. It also depends where you're moving to or how you are. It depends.
The speaker is probably in Latin America because everywhere else, everyone is always on time.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sorry, I did not know that my mic was off. So what do you think that will be the things that you will not be able to get used to it when you move to Japan, for example?
I don't think I won't adapt to their culture eventually, but at the beginning I think it will be really difficult because they are always on time. Like, for example, if I say like I'm about to get there, but I'm actually just getting up from bed. Also, I do have a Japanese friend, so there are different things between us. For example, when someone dies there, and they go for the cremation, but then the relatives go and pick up the bones. They see when their relative is being cremated, which is kind of weird. I don't think I can adapt to that. Seeing how my loved one is just there burning. It's quite creepy though. And I think that's going to be the most difficult part for me. The part when you say your goodbyes to your loved ones in the Japanese way.
Yeah, I think it will be really hard to adapt. There is things that we respect, and when you move, you understand that you need to respect their way of doing things, their culture, but it's also they will understand if you don't want to just get that or get into that things that they practicing or the things they do. It will be totally like easy to understand, because I live here. There is stuff that I don't like to do because it's part of the culture, but I also It's like, okay, I respect, but I'm not gonna fall in that.
Yeah.
So it's totally understandable. And thank you for sharing your experience and your thoughts and to have an interaction through this class. That will be everything for today. I just shared with you on the chat a form from the attendance evidence. And I will share with you the recording of the video when after upload the video on YouTube, so it will be more easy for you.
When can I get the video from YouTube? Actually, to review the class.
Because, sorry, what did you say?
When will the video be available on YouTube?
Oh, in a file.